So it's June 1st, which means it's Pride Month. Um, I absolutely love this month. Being in New York, Pride is really just a celebration of what makes New York so wonderful. Um, every day in New York is Pride, and June is just the month where we get to celebrate it on a grander scale. Um, so I wanted to share this video, kind of talk a little bit about my story and why this month is so important to me, and kind of talk about all the things that I wish I had done, and all the things that I'm doing now um, to be an advocate for this community. And yeah, so where do I start? I guess I'll start. So growing up, I grew up in a part of the country that where not really subjected to queer culture. Um, there wasn't a lot of like out people at my school. We didn't have a booming GSA. My queer education came from Rent, which like obviously Maureen Johnson is a shining example of what it means to be a member of the LGBT community. Um, that was a joke. Uh, but uh, it was never something that I knew was an option for me. So when I moved to New York, it was a little bit of a culture shock. In the sense that like for the first time I really was truly like on my own. I wasn't a sheltered kid growing up. I mean, it was a little sheltered. My mom's probably watching this and was like, not as sheltered as I was, which is true. But I wasn't like one of those kids where her parents like didn't ever know where she was. Like my parents still always know where I am, and I've been living on my own for 5 years. But so on my own in New York, I kind of started to see more people that were out and super confident in that life, and I was definitely trying to figure myself out. A couple of my roommates, my freshman year, were in relationships, and they're like, "You're on your own. You should date," like all this stuff, and I was like, "Nah, okay, like maybe whatever." Gonna explore New York first. Happy being single, all that, and then throughout my 2 years at CAP, I kind of slowly started to figure it out. I think that there's something about being an actor, and being put in different situations, even though it's storytelling, and you're portraying somebody else. There's something about it that you always connect to, or you don't connect to, and you start to realize that. So kind of like I think I figured it out about halfway through my 2 years at CAP, but it took me so I'll say before. So the summer between my 2 years at CAP, I was working at a store in the meatpacking district, and so right next to where Pride Fest happens. And I went out on my lunch break. I had an hour lunch break on Pride. I was working on Pride Day, and I walked through Pride Fest, and I got a bunch of stickers and like rainbow things, and that was the first time where I was like, oh, I kind of maybe relate to these people. And then it took me another year to really, truly come to terms with that. So fast forward a year, June of 2016, so 2 years ago, I woke up to find out about the shooting at Pulse in Orlando. I have some people in Orlando that I love, that are very close to my heart, that are people who have been to Pulse, had been to Pulse, and I knew that. So there was a really big fear in my heart that morning, that somebody that I really love was gone. And she's fine. She took a little too long to answer my text message, but it's okay. She had the day off. She slept in. She works hard. She deserves it. She scared the living daylights out of me for like 3 hours, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm over it, clearly. But that was the day that I kind of decided that I didn't want to hide anymore. I think that there's parts of the world where gay bars and gay clubs are exactly that. They're hideouts. There are places where people in this community can go and be themselves in a part of the world or part of the country that hasn't quite accepted them for who they are yet, which I think is a really terrible thing that we're still doing, but I understand. And so one day on my lunch break at Jackrabbit, I was like, I'm gonna come out. And so I texted my best friend Kelsey, and I was like, hey, I'm coming out, and you should be the first to know before I drop it on the interwebs for everyone to see. And she texted me back and was like, yeah, okay, whatever, love you anyway. And I dropped the news that I was bi. A couple things that were wrong with this. First of all, don't come out like that. I'm just gonna put it out there. I took the coward way out, and I didn't confront anybody face to face, which was a really, really bad way to do things. As tough as I think this still kind of is with my family, they're probably watching this and being like, what is this crap? The idea of telling them in person was something that I didn't want to deal with. I just kind of wanted to like drop it and hide. And that's kind of what I did. And though I did have a lot of support after coming out, I had a lot of friends that texted me that were like, yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm so really proud of you and all of that. I wish I had handled that better. And I know that my family was upset that I didn't come to them first. And it's not because I don't love them and because I don't respect them. It's because the people that you love and the people that you love the most are the hardest to tell. Because you're afraid of being a little bit less than what they think what you think they think of you. If that makes any sense. It's a really weird feeling, and it's kind of something that you have to go through to really truly understand. And it seems silly from an outsider's perspective, like just come out. Like I've heard that a lot. Just come out, but it's in a society that hasn't fully grasped it yet. It's really not an easy thing to do. But so that happened. Oh, second thing about coming out on Facebook that you shouldn't do. Besides coming out on Facebook, I came out as bi. That was how I had decided that I wanted to identify. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Bisexuality exists. It is valid and real and true, and don't ever say that it's not, because it is. But I think that just kind of created some more issues, both like within my personal circle of people being like, well, I think you're just still confused. And you know, you don't have enough experience with guys to rule them out, was something that actually had been told to me. And don't ever say that bullshit to anybody, ever. It's like, no. Like, don't let anybody tell you that you, like, if you think that you're gay, don't let anybody tell you that you have to, like, date a guy or sleep with a guy or anything, or vice versa. If you're a guy, you have to sleep with a girl to, like, validate your sexuality. That's not the way that works. It's so unhealthy and it's so bad, and no, don't ever do that. And don't ever tell anybody that they have to do that. That's not, no. I'm clearly very angry about that. But anyway, so I came out as bi, and then I don't remember how long it took me to realize, or not to realize, I think I always knew, but to like really truly come to terms with the fact that I kind of was still lying, that I was just like straight up gay. And I don't know that I ever like really truly clarified that. I think the people that know me personally know that. But I don't think I ever was like, actually, I lied. So that happened. I'm really lucky right now to be in such a wonderful, caring, loving environment where I feel supported and I feel loved and I feel like I can be myself. I do still feel like we live in a society that's still a little bit like don't ask, don't tell, which is a problem. I'm super open about it. If you ask me, I will tell you. I'll be honest and truthful, but I think that there's still a part of me that if I'm not asked, I don't want to say anything. I still, in situations with like family or strangers or something where they're like, do you have a boyfriend? I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, that's okay, you'll find someone. Like, I don't correct them, and I don't think that that's something, I think that it's something I should be doing. And it's something that I haven't done. So that's that. And I think it also comes to a safety thing that I think we're still a little bit scared of saying things to strangers. Like, I would love to tell off a cat caller by like saying that I'm gay and that I'm not, I don't play for their team or whatever. But I also think that there's a part of me that's like, okay, if you use this as like a comeback, as defense, you're saying that to a stranger. You could be saying that to most like homophobic asshole out there, and then all of a sudden you've now put yourself in danger again. I think that's a really big problem. But I want to talk about a resource that really helped me, the Trevor Project. If you don't know, the Trevor Project is the nation's only 24-hour LGBT suicide hotline, specifically for LGBT youth. They also help with coming out counseling. You can basically reach out to them about anything, and they're always there to listen. They have been a really huge resource for me about talking about coming out and about how to talk to friends and how to talk to family. They provided me some really great resources. They checked in on me later to see how everything went and to make sure that I'm okay and that I'm not, suicidal, or that I'm not being abused by the people around me, or that, that everything went smoothly. They're such a wonderful resource, and they do so many wonderful things. And I highly suggest, if you need them, to use them. I've also noticed, like, I don't know if it's like one of those things that you don't notice until like after you've come out. You're like, oh, there's like queer characters on TV and in books, and I think that was a big problem for me growing up, is that I never saw myself represented in anybody else, in anything else, like in books, in TV, in like friends. I'm really lucky to have great friends and to have great LGBT friends that are in super wonderful relationships and healthy relationships and marriages, and that are great role models. And I think it's so important that everybody sees themselves represented in the media, because our media reaches everybody. So if you want to know about any places to watch, like things that aren't like porn, I'm gonna regret saying that, but like really, really true, wonderful, positive LGBT representation on TV and in movies. Love, Simon, I think, was the movie that I really wish I had as a teenager. The CW is doing some pretty great things on DC Comics. Their last four show crossover was super gay and so wonderful. And they've got some really incredible characters that have really beautiful stories. And the actors themselves are really huge advocates for the LGBT community, which is also really important. They don't just play it on TV. They are, out there supporting us and being advocates for us. Also, One Day at a Time, if you haven't watched it on Netflix, is so great. A queer Latina character, which is super, super important. They shut down racism. They shut down homophobia. They shut down like sexism. It's probably the most well-represented TV show out there right now. And Orange is the New Black. It's not always like the healthiest representation, but there's a lot of really incredible queer women and queer actors on that show, and trans actors, and it's a really great way to see yourself represented. So my advice to everybody for Pride Month, all people are welcome at Pride, as long as you're there in a loving, supportive, caring, celebratory manner. If you are not going to be that, stay away. If you're walking down the street this month and you see some rainbows, you see like store window displays, flags, whatever, and it's not something you want to support, just shut up and walk past it. Move on. Don't say anything. It's not your place. be grateful that you don't need a Pride Day to celebrate how straight you are or whatever that is. Because I think that's what we miss, right? We celebrate Pride because at one point, we were a group of people that were isolated from everybody else because we were different and we were not normal or whatever, whatever we want to say. So now we celebrate the fact that we can exist in society happily, and for the most part without harm. And so if that's not what you want to support, then don't say anything. If it's not your life, it's not your business. That's something I really, really try to live by, because I think that it's a big problem that we have in the society, is that we want to be in everybody else's business and tell everybody else how to live, and that's not our place. So enjoy this month. Wear a rainbow. Don't wear a rainbow. Celebrate. Be safe. That's really important. Be safe, but have fun. And enjoy celebrating this wonderful month. Happy Pride, everybody!